Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Stamping A to Z, my series that I do that goes through all the Stampin' Up! Products and shows you different ways to use them. You probably have stuff in your stash that you have no idea, or maybe you're too scared to open, or maybe you have opened it and used it, but there's so many ways you can use different things. I try to come up with new ways. Sometimes it's cased from other demonstrators. Sometimes it's on my own. I try to tap into that creative side once in a while. So hopefully you're all having a good week. Oh, and I should introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Linda Gibbs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada. So if you're looking for a demonstrator, I'm here for you. As long as you're in Canada, we're good. Yeah, so today is episode 65, and we're going to be looking at the watercolor paper, the fluid 100 watercolor paper. I think I've done water painters, and we've kind of done some stuff with watercoloring, but this is just playing with the watercolor paper, and I kind of got inspired by our New Horizons suite and all the cool watercoloring, and it's actually really cool. Stampin' Up! Just put out a video for their paper pumpkin, because our March paper pumpkin that is available to subscribe for right now is going to coordinate with the New Horizons, and so they've created even more of that cool watercolor background paper for the paper pumpkin, and it's extra cool because the March paper pumpkin is going to have 2 stamp sets, or the equivalent of 2 stamp sets. And it still makes the 9 cards and coordinating envelopes, but it sounds like it's a really cool one to get. So if you're not a regular subscriber, make sure you subscribe for March. And as I've said before, as of March 1st, the paper pumpkin price is going up. So you can actually pre-purchase, like do a prepaid subscription for 3, 6, or 12 months. So you could buy it now during celebration, get all your free celebration items, save money on your subscription, and get 12 months of paper pumpkin on the old price. So if that's something on your list, you might want to get on that before it goes up. Another thing, celebration is almost ending. It ends at the end of February. The February 28th, I mean. So if there's anything left that you want out of here, or you just want to take advantage of it because you haven't yet, make sure you take a look at the celebration catalog. You can find it on my store at, you will see it as I turn it around. I have the link there. Just a reminder, we still, oh, hi Marcy. Nice to see you. All you have is a black screen. Huh. Okay, let me look it up and see. Let's see what I see. No, I don't have a black screen. That is very strange. Can you hear me though? You try going out and coming back in and see if that works. Because when I pull it up on my iPad, it comes up just fine. There's video feed. So hopefully I'm not black for everybody. Okay, let me know. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Nothing exciting yet. You've probably seen this stuff. So we have the All Together collection that was released. The blends are already on back order and can't be ordered right now. So, oh, good. You got it. Make sure if you like that you get on it. We have a new collection coming out as of March 1st. And it is to die for. So make sure you keep your eyes open for that. I think that'll be my next week's live. So you'll want to check that out. Any other, and then there's also it's still available. So hopefully it'll be available for a while. I just ordered a couple of these magnet boards. They're 12 by 12. Great for organization, great for decor. I'm thinking I'm gonna make them for gifts for people, or I might try and have some friends over and we can all make one. we'll see. I haven't decided. Or maybe I'll just have a class if I've got enough interest. So let me know if you want to even just kit together. It doesn't have to be in the form of a class. So anyways, I'm going to turn you around and let's get started here. And okay. Eee. Okay, let's move into view here. Okay, so there's my site if you're looking to go on and find the catalogs or any of some more information. And if you are purchasing this month, anything under $200, you can use the host code. If you're over $200, make sure you don't use the host code because then you get the rewards for yourself. Okay, but it still will get shipped to you, so that's the important part. So we're going to start with, I guess I should show you this watercolor paper for those of you who haven't used it before. It's really nice, heavy, thick watercolor paper. It is cotton, 100% cotton. There was something about it's acid free for those of you for that if it's important to you. It's really nice and thick and absorbent, and it's a natural white. So as you can see, it's not quite what do you call it? White. There's so many colors of white. It's more of a natural white. So I find if you're putting it on a card, it's kind of iffy. Depending how much you have around it, you might put it on a white background, or if the very vanilla works really well too. Or you could just use a color and not have to worry about matching it up. So anyways, let's get started. The fun part, you've probably seen me many times use just the shimmery white or even our regular basic white to do a little bit of watercoloring. But the nice thing with the watercolor paper is you can really soak it and get creative because it just keeps absorbing the water. So the first one we're going to do is I'm going to play with this Paradise Palms. And I thought these beautiful blues would go well with the palms. So I'm going to start by stamping my palm trees on here and embossing them, because we're going to kind of do that emboss resist technique. Oh, I had my powder out and then I put it away thinking I didn't need it, but I do. Okay. Here we go. I've got that. And we've got our... So these stems actually are two separate pieces, but I just put them on one to make it easier to stamp. So I find the easiest way to do this is to stamp them piece by piece. Put the powder on, melt that powder, and then keep going. Because to try and, well, you'll see, to try and put the powder on for everything, or the Versamark, to try and stamping it all without any powder on, it gets hard to see what you're doing. So I prefer to do it one at a time. Maybe it takes a wee bit longer, but you can probably see it's really hard to see what you have on there. So that makes it hard to place unless you set it up on your Stamparatus and you know kind of exactly where it's being stamped. You could do it that way if you wanted to do it all at once. But we're going to do it the slow way. And I totally forgot when I was had you up, but I do want to make sure I say thank you for watching. I really love it when people are on and watching and commenting. It makes these lives more fun, more interactive. You know, 2 years into COVID, life gets a little lonely, talking to yourself all the time. So there's the first one. So now I can see where my first stamp went. So then it's easier when I go to stamp the rest of this. And the stamp apparatus helps too in some ways in that you can stamp over and over again because the watercolor paper is textured. You don't always get a good solid take on it the first time, but this is kind of more of a, not a solid stamp. It's got that kind of that distinctive look, so it's not as important to get that super solid. But you can see it's fairly, it stamps pretty well on the watercolor paper. So, sorry, I should have just left one little piece to emboss. But like I said, I went through all my stuff and I was setting everything aside. And for some reason in my head, I didn't think I was using the embossing powder. I should just like make it up as I go, and then my memory, it doesn't become such an issue. Okay, getting old really, I think the little one will go sideways. I don't like this getting old thing. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this one also just because it's on a separate stem. Again, I'm still in my temporary craft room, so pardon the noise. I'm just hoping that the dogs don't start barking. I'm up over the garage so they can see out front. And they like to bark every time a car, not even to our house. We live in a cul-de-sac, so every time a car comes, they hear it and they think it's for our house, and they like to be the welcoming committee or the deterring committee. I'm not sure what their intentions are, but okay. So we've got it doesn't look like much now, but now we get to have fun with the watercolor brush. Okay, so this is our, I mean, they're fairly new. The old ones didn't have this nice wide tip brush. I really like the wide tip. So there's a couple ways you can use our water painters. You can squeeze out the water. And most of the time when you're using, I don't know why this tip loosened up on me. I think I pulled it off one day by accident. And it ended up, so you can use that water and squeeze it out. If you find it not controlled enough, you can always have a glass of water and just use that just like a regular paintbrush. When the kids were young, I loved these brushes because you didn't have that glass of water that they were going to spill over, and it's much easier to clean your brush afterwards because you're not putting it in dirty water all the time. So that was nice. So now you can see I wet my paper, and wetting the paper just allows your ink to kind of move more when you put it on. So I like that movement. And oops, we don't want to use that side. We want to use this side. So you just have to squeeze your lid. These ones are a little bit harder than the old ones, but if you squeeze like right in the middle, it will get the ink on there. And then again, you can just squeeze some water in here just to kind of get it going. And then we're just gonna kind of loosey-goosey. I don't think there's enough water here. Let's put a little bit more water so it has more of a washed effect. And maybe some drips. Okay, and then we'll go to the next color. Oops, that's how that ripped. Wondered how I had a rip in there. Okay, so if you want to just clean off your brush before you put it in the next color, you just squeeze it and then wipe off your ink, or you can use the glass of water or however I find that's the best way to get your brush much cleaner. More. Come on. I want to kind of have more, not so brush strokey. And you can see I'm putting a lot of water on here, and the water is going to dry and be just fine. So now let's see. Oh, there we go. Making cards, awesome. I love that you craft with me, Marcy. It's like our craft date. We should have to bring you on one day and you can. Actually, I've been contemplating doing like a mystery crafting or something. That would be fun to have. So again, just to get that movement, maybe a little bit of, there we go. And then you can also, if you want to soak up some of the water, you can. It does kind of take off some of the, but you can also dab it where you have your embossing just to get it nice and white again. That really pops. There we go. And you can see I missed putting powder on some, so the color just went in more. You know what? I'm going to put some more Bermuda Bay because it kind of got washed in with the pool party. Not too much. There we go. Okay, that should be good. So that's my first one, just a basic background. You can blend your colors, you could do it all one color, but you know, you can see how you can get variations in color, but it's not pretty. Just palm trees and some color, and voila, you've got a beautiful card. So I stamped the happy birthday from the same set. It's got some nice sentiments. Hope you find a little paradise wherever you may be. Wishing you a warm and beachy kind of day. I love this one. I love the ocean. I miss Hawaii. I'm hoping that maybe we can go again. If not this Christmas, maybe the next. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, so on this one actually, and I wanted to point that out, you can do drops of water, and if you let it sit, it'll actually pick up the color, and then you'll get droplets. So you could do it like I did, big drops here. You could also take like a spritzer. You can even put like shimmer paint and stuff in here too, if you want it to give a little shine. Oops, I should look which way I'm spraying. So I don't know if it's too fine to, that might be too fine. Where's my little brush here? So you can just kind of, oh, that's a big one. Didn't want, you kind of need to wait till it's more dry. I should have dried it with my dryer, but so you can kind of see these ones, how they're getting some designs, but you can also pick it up with tissue. And then since this paper is so forgiving, you can just give it a blow dry and it'll just look the way you left it. So anyways, I'm going to set that aside since I showed you that. And then I used these Genial Gems because they were like the perfect color. I think this is Pool Party. I don't know, but it went well. So that's what I added for that one. So let's set that aside. So next up, I don't know why my comments keep disappearing, so I'm just gonna make sure I'm not missing things. Okay, I shouldn't ruin the ta-da moment. So here I've got, these are the colors that, it's this New Horizon Designer Series paper. So these were all hand watercolored by their artists at Stampin' Up! And then they printed them into these beautiful papers. So pretty. Such landscapes. I know a couple of markets that didn't get this paper, or they ran out of paper, and this paper is only here till the end of June. So I was thinking, well, what do you do after it's gone? Because I love the coordinating, not just the stamp set, but the dies that have the mountains and the trees, and it just, you can just add to this. I showed it last week as well. So it's like, well, what happens when you don't have any more paper? You can create your own watercolor paper. And now, for those of you who know me well, I'm not a total artist. I'm probably, I would like to take some watercolor classes, because I do like watercoloring, but I'm not good at it. So anyways, I threw my hand at this. I took one of the simpler papers. I might try this one eventually, but I started with this one because I thought it looked fairly easy to replicate. Obviously, it's not, no two are ever going to look the same. So you need to remember that, and don't have the expectation that it's going to look like, if you're trying to make more than one card, that it'll look the same. This isn't the technique you want to use to do that. So again here, I'm going to actually use, so I'm going to take my big glass block and I'm going to use it as a palette so I can kind of mix some colors as I go. And I had the stamp pads out because I was using them, but I do want Misty Moonlight and Evening Evergreen. I'm going to mix those two on here. And you'll see why. So now I'm almost out of water, so I'm going to use my glass of water here. And once again, I'm going to wet my paper. You want to be generous. So now you don't always have to start with wet paper. It's just, I want the colors to be able to move as I put them on. Otherwise, actually, I should show you. I'll show you after what happens when you put it on dry. So maybe you have less control when the paper is wet, but it moves more. So for something like this, that's a background, you probably want that movement. So I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to add a bit of water here. Okay, there we go. Now we got it going. I'm just gonna here, and I'll put, okay, you can see the paper. So we'll just kind of move that around, and then I'm gonna add this. I should shake it because it feels like the blue seemed really thick. Okay, then I'm just gonna wipe this a little bit, get some of this, not that I need to take off all the blue. And we're gonna, it's really green. I was hoping it would be more purpley. Let's see if we can get a little, that's not purple, that's not what I was hoping for. anyways, we can do our line here like it is in the, but see how it bleeds? So then if you want it to kind of bleed upwards, then you can kind of go up. And come down. And go up again, and see, you can tell it's dry there because it's not doing that nice bleeding. So we'll just add a little water. But yeah, our paper is getting dry. So I want, before I start going up, I'm going to have to wet it again. I probably just started with my bottom part, but I didn't. Okay, I really need more water in my brush. Anyways, let's take some blue. Maybe get some more in here. Okay, and then some more green. Okay, then I'm gonna clean off this brush. Try anyways. There we go. It's mostly off, and then we're gonna, oh, it still has a lot of color on it. I think I ruined my brush tip when it got pulled off because it seems to pull the color in now. Oh, so sad. I love this wider brush. But yeah, see, it's got all the color on the inside, and I don't know why it's doing that. Doesn't usually. Anyways, well, let's just take some water without squeezing it, and then it won't have that blue. So you can see how fast the paper dries by the fact that it wasn't bleeding there. And the nice thing too with this watercolor paper is as you add water, you can add more layers of color, and it's very forgiving, unlike regular paper. You obviously can't put this much water. Oh, hi, Alond. Nice to see you back in Canada. How's this nice cold feel after, was it really warm down south? Okay, so then I had polished pink. So I'm just using the colors that are listed in the papers so that it kind of has the same feel. And I think to kind of get this dry, you kind of need to have it a little more dry so you get the darker kind of maybe bring that down a little more. Yolanda, you'd probably be good at this. I know you're much better at watercoloring than I am. So if you try your hat at it, please post and show me what kind of stuff you come up with. And the other thing I was thinking is you could take this same kind of idea, but say you wanted a different color scheme, then you just change the colors, but do the same kind of, you can keep the same, what's the word I'm looking for? The same look, same kind of, but just maybe you don't want like a sunset or a sunrise. Maybe you want a dark sky or snow or blue sky, clouds, whatever, right? So actually, I'm going to take some of this blue here. Put some in here. That's a little too much blue. Just kind of make it look like it was on purpose. There we go. A little bit better. Okay, so what do you think? Not bad, right? When it dries, it'll have a kind of a similar feel, I think. So then what I did actually, sorry, I'm just gonna dab this because it's gonna drip as I move it. Okay, so I'm gonna move this so it can dry. The problem with trying to do videos with this is you have to wait for it to dry. So my finished, where's my finished card? I decided to do a slim line with it, which is kind of silly seeing as we made this nice big area. So I might make a bigger card with that one, but this one I cut, I don't think it was quite in half because these sheets are, I don't remember now, they are 5 by 7. So this would be like it would only be 2.5 if you cut it in half. And I don't know if this is the full 7. I think it is, yeah. Anyway, so 2.5 would be a little narrow to cut it in half, but I did cut it down to fit. This is, so your standard slim card is 7 by 8.5, and then you would score it at 3.5. So this is 3.5 and this is 7. So I did cut this down. No. Okay, this is 8.5. Silly, 7 was the other way. Okay, so yeah, so then I just did, so this is from the On the Horizon, the Wishing You So Much Happiness. I just embossed it in white embossing powder. I used my favorite new iridescent rhinestones from the mini catalog. And then I just added the birds again from the same stamp set. You could stamp like the trees or grasses, or if you've got like spruce trees, you could stamp some spruce trees. You could add, so one of the dies, I just have an extra one here, is the mountains. So if you were to do one of these papers that's more, there's some that kind of more resemble mountain type things. So if you'd done one like this, you could do mountains. The mountains even look good here as well. Maybe not, you might want to use a wider card if you're adding the mountains, but even then, like it adds, I might actually add that to the card, who knows. But yeah, so sky's the limits, and it's fun to just kind of make your own paper. So it's kind of messy, but it's kind of pretty at the same time, I think. So there's that one. Then the next one, I think you've seen me do this before, but we'll do it again because it's fun. It's the no line watercoloring. So, oof, sorry. I've got my watercolor paper here. And, oh, my chair keeps banging into the table. Okay, so here I'm using the Honeybee Home, which is in the mini catalog. And I'm using So Saffron and Garden Green. So since I'm going to be doing flowers, which are mostly yellow, and then there'll be a little bit of green, I'm going to stamp with my yellow. And the idea with the no line watercoloring is for your watercoloring to look like it wasn't stamped first. So there's no lines showing, i.e. no line watercoloring. So this one, we're not going to wet the background first. This one we're going to use one of the, this is the finer of the brushes. There's one that's a little bit thicker. I don't have it out right now. So yeah, so there's the fine, and then there's a slightly thicker one, and then there's the really fat kind of background one. So first we're going to stamp, so you could, the first time I did this, so you'll see it when I show you my thing, I stamped off and then I stamped it. This one I'm going to stamp on because I'm turning it yellow. It's going to disappear, and I found it quite hard. I really had to use this picture to know kind of where to shadow my flowers, and because I'm not a natural artist, let me just see. Actually that might be too dark where I want the yellow, or the green, sorry. I think I will stamp it off again. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp it. So you can see it's a faded version of the stamp. And then I'm going to squeeze my pad together so I have my yellow there. And then I'm going to squeeze some water. And then I've got my yellow. So I'm going to start with my flowers. And I'm just going to kind of go in, and the other thing too is if your brush is wet, it will pull the color from your stamped image as well. And that's the idea, is you kind of want those lines to just fade into your picture because you want it to look like you've drawn. So I'm going to take my stamp, I'm going to put it here so I have an idea of kind of where I'm going with this. So to start with, I'm just going to do the background yellow, and then I'll add some more darker yellow as we go. But for now, I'm just going to start making the lines, kind of having the outline of the flower. I don't know, can you guys hear the stomping on the stairs? My kids are elephants. They're online learning this semester, so back at home, they went in person in the fall. They missed it last year, they were online. Wanted to go in person, and then they decided, you know, online learning is kind of the cat's meow. They get to sleep in the morning, they can eat whenever they want. You know, growing teenage boys, they want to be able to eat, and they're too lazy to make a really good lunch and get up early enough to have a really good breakfast. So online learning is the way to go for these hungry little bears. Okay, so I'm going to just set that aside while that's drying, and then I'm going to do the green, and then I'll go back in and continue the flowers. So this is where I don't want to put too much water because I want it to be darker, because I really need the yellow to disappear. So we didn't, it's like the yellow was never there. So I'm going to go on the outside of the leaves so we don't have any evidence. And then it's going to look like I'm an artist, which I'm not. But you know, you can fake it. does anyone else have this set? I haven't really played with it much. We'd gotten the matching, there's two, oh, that was supposed to be yellow. Oh well, we'll make that green. There's two stamp sets to this set. There's this bee, what's it called? Honeybee Home. And then there's Home, something Home. Comfort of Home, maybe? And I played with the Comfort of Home quite a bit because that was the first set I got. Yeah, I know. I have a few bee sets too. And so I waffled about getting this one, and I can't remember. Well, this one has the 3 bees that you can cut out, so you can have different angles on your bees, which is kind of nice. I can't remember. I remember I did look at my other bee sets before I bought this one because I thought, you know, like you, do I really need more bees? But then obviously I decided, and I don't know what it, I think it was in the dye, something in the dyes that tempted me to get this. It must have been in the dyes, but I can't think what's in the dyes right now. I don't have the dyes out. Okay, so now I'm going to use a much lighter green and go in and kind of fill my, not too light, you want it to kind of blend. There. Then you can add some darker veining after. I think it might be too wet. It's just kind of blending in as I go. So like I said, it needs to, like, you need to let it dry, and then you can kind of add some more details as you go. And you know what? I forgot to stamp my little bumblebee, but that's okay. I'm not gonna torture you to sit through me coloring the bumblebee. So now I'm gonna go back to my yellow. You don't need to see, you know, you get the idea. That's the whole point of this, is for you to kind of see what you can do and then go and run with it, is what I hope you do. And this one's kind of got it's like I'm concentrating, so I'm not saying anything. It's like, that's a boring video. Okay, we're getting there. So anyways, I probably don't have to finish this, really. You get the idea. You can come back in and do your details, but I will hold it up to the camera so you can see. You really can't see any of the lines from the stamp that I did, so it looks like I just did this all on my own, which I totally did not, but it looks like it. So that's the fun part of no line watercoloring. You've got so it's almost like you sketched it with a pencil, like people do when they're real watercoloring, but you're using, you're cheating. It's the cheat watercoloring. It's the watercoloring for, I don't want to say watercoloring for dummies because I'm sure most people aren't dummies, but I'm the dummy. So watercoloring for me. So anyways, so here's my little bumblebee. Isn't he cute? But yeah, you can see like it doesn't look like it was stamped at all. And this is that Simply Marvelous paper that is still available for celebration. So only till the end of February, you can get this beautiful Marvelous paper. And I wish I had the time. I wanted to do some samples of this, but I've seen so many samples where people have actually taken their blends and kind of added colors to this because of the white. And you can kind of blend and do, the yellow makes for a really nice sunset. You can add some Flirty Flamingo, or even, I think there is a pink. Yeah, there's a pink. So you can use the pink also and add yellow to it, or you can use the blues. The purple, you can add some like Misty Moonlight and do somewhat, or even to this one, you can add the darker blue. The other side is actually like marble, so you've got options, but there's so much more you can do with this paper. I've seen people get really creative than just use it as a background by just adding some extra color to it. So yeah, if you got it for celebration or if you're planning on getting it, make sure you think about using it for more than just a background. It makes some pretty cool, I mean, it'll still be a background, I guess, but just take it one step further. So yeah, those are my 3 cards for today. So here's the no line coloring. Here's the New Horizon background casing, and then just the Stamp and Resist background. So you could do this with black embossing powder, and you could do like a sunset look. You could do, I mean, sky's the limits. You could do anything. So yeah, have fun with your watercolor paper, and between, if you've got refills or if you've got stamp pads, and even if you only have the little stamping spots, you can still, just like I did with the refills, stamp your stamping spot onto a block, and you'll have the ink on there to use with your aqua painter. I'm using the old term, aqua painter, that's the old ones. The water painters you can use on your blocks, and it cleans right off, so it's really super easy. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed these projects today. I can't wait to reveal the new collection that is coming out next week. Those of you who are in club already saw it. Yeah, so exciting. So anyways, and I just registered for our On Tour, which is for the release of the new annual catalog. So that's always fun to see kind of what's new. And we also get to find out which new colors are going to be coming out. Because as you might know, we have 5 in colors every single year. So there's always 2 sets of in colors of 5 on the go, and 5 retire every year and 5 new ones come in. So these colors, the Misty Moonlight, the Polished Pink, the Pale Papaya, Evening Evergreen, and Soft Succulent, those are the newest. So those will still be here for another year. It's the Bumblebee and, oh, I said Misty Moonlight's part of the one that's going. Magenta Madness, Just Jade, and Cinnamon Cider. Those ones are going to be retiring. So it'll be fun. It's always fun to see the new stuff. Anyways, have a great rest of your week, and we will hopefully see you next week. Take care. Bye.